Welcome back to a Late Night Wolfpack. Today I wanted to talk to you all about the board games that I played in June. But before we get there, I did want to mention one thing because right before this, I'm like in the midst of playing a couple of these other apps and video games. And I'm like, man, I want to talk about this to somebody. And then I realized that all of the cousins and the friends I used to talk to about playing games, well, they're too cool and grown out of it, I guess. So I'm like, oh, I don't know when to talk to about this too. And then I realized, hold on, I got the entire 37,000 wolves in the wolf pack that I can mention too. So I figured why not just integrate that into our monthly wrap-up videos. So here we are. I just want to mention 1 or 2 video games and then we'll talk straight into the tabletop games too because I'm dying to talk about some games I'm playing right now. Now the first video game that I've been playing for quite some time now since I got the PS5 is Black Myth Wukong. This one reminds me a lot of Ninja Gaiden, if you ever played the Ninja Gaiden series. But Black Myth Wukong, you're playing as an ancient Chinese tale. I actually grew up watching these movies in translated to Cambodian language, which is Khmer. And it was really cool because it's all about this kind of legendary monkey who is a god or like a demigod. And he basically has his really long staffs also based on, Goku from Dragon Ball Z is based on this exact character. And he goes on all these adventures fighting different bosses. And that's what you're doing too in Black Myth Wukong. So I love seeing that translated over. And even playing with subs, the voiceover is incredible. The graphics are absolutely amazing. You feel so, it blows my mind what video games can do nowadays with how good it looks on screen. But the main thing that has stopped me from playing this even further now is because it's so hard. This video game is so hard. It's right on the border of being too hard where I don't want to play it, but it's also not too easy where it feels like you're just breezing through the game. So they really hit a borderline nice medium where like I feel so accomplished after beating a boss, but it's a struggle every single time you're fighting a boss. And like sometimes I just don't want to struggle all one time. I play video games to decompress, and yet here I am feeling very, very stressed. So that's Black Myth Wukong. But then I really wanted to play Claire Obscuro because I was watching Banz stream the other day, and that game looks so much fun. It's a tactical RPG turn-based combat system, and the casting and the way that the UI honestly was the one that threw me into this game. I'm like, why is this UI so clean? It just comes out like a paintbrush every time you're playing it and it's your turn and you're choosing an action. And I mean, it's an RPG. It's my favorite genre of games. And I just love that this game feels different and it just feels like Zelda with turn-based combat and just a really cool art style that I love. So I just bought it actually. So I might just end up playing that one instead of Black Myth Wukong for a little bit. So those are the PS5 games that I'm playing. And I probably get to them once every 2 weeks if I'm being realistic here. And on a daily, I am playing one particular app, and this is because of Jay from Cardboard East. If you're not following him, he actually recommended this one to me, and that is Chrono Trigger. If you ever played Final Fantasy 6 or like 1 through 6 when you're growing up, Chrono Trigger is the parallel to that. It's different from Final Fantasy in that you don't necessarily have to depend on a leveling / grind system, but I like to grind. I like to have this whole leveling thing and grow my party one by one. You can level up Chrono Trigger in order for you to make the fights a lot easier, but what I love about the combat system is that as you're fighting each mob, it actually plays into the environment. Like you are immediately thrown into the environment instead of switching to another scene like Pokemon or Final Fantasy. This one, like you are in the environment where you are fighting in. And the story is really interesting so far. I love it, and it's a game that I never managed to play, but I'm glad I'm playing through now, and I'm more than halfway done. So I'm probably gonna finish by the time Gen Con hits, okay? Now, from there, let's get on to the board games that I've been playing from the start of June. Can you guess one game that got played? This is my favorite gameplay this month by far, and this is like making up 70% of what I played in June, and that is Vantage. So if you haven't seen my playthrough on Vantage and my review on Vantage, I'll go ahead and leave them linked here or below somewhere. I mostly play this game solo. It is an open world. Imagine like Zelda, and I keep using that as a reference, but it really is what these games feel like. It is an open world tabletop game that feels literally like Zelda. You are going around to different areas, and what's really cool about this game is that at a specific location that you go to, you can perform like up to 6 actions. And then with those actions, it will lead you down a completely different narrative path. Now, I think The ultimate misconception here, not really a misconception, but more so the ultimate takeaway that I think can be misconstrued is that when you are watching this game, it feels a lot simpler than what it is. Because when you look at it and you watch it from an outside view, it looks like a game where you just pick whatever's there and you move on. But when you're playing the game, it does not feel like that at all. It really feels like you are in a grand adventure and you have absolutely no idea what is coming next. Yes, the systems are simple, but I think people are undermining that this simple system can give you a phenomenal experience. And that's why I really loved Vantage. I mentioned this in the review, but I don't even like exploring on games, and all I do in Vantage is explore. It does something that video games don't do for me, and in video games, I don't like exploring. I still don't. And in Vantage, I'm doing complete opposite. I want to explore every single crack and crevice because I feel like there is something hidden in there that can give me a really good advantage in like my next big encounter. And I love the encounters in that game. So if you haven't tried out Vantage yet, Gen Con, and you're gonna be at Gen Con, then that is going to be one fantastic place for you to try it in person. But also, I think the pre-release is coming soon, so that game will be out, and I'm sure many of you are gonna love that game. Okay, let's see here on my BG stats. After Vantage, I also got to play Raiders of the North Sea. Now, this one was digital, even though it was tabletop at first, but this is how I first learned the game, and I really, really enjoyed it. I played it 3 times this month, and it's easy game to just pick up and play, and I love that I can also play it without Wi-Fi, so like when I'm traveling and everything, this is one of my go-to games right now, where I can just get that nice little worker placement system in and exploring the different effects and abilities of Vikings, because ultimately what I love about the system and what makes it different from other worker placement games that I've experienced is that in this game, you place a worker on a specific building. And that building is going to give you a specific effect, like allowing you to build or get Vikings into your army, allowing you to get money, allowing you to get provisions. With all those resources, you're going to use those things. And then when you raid, that's how you get victory points. And that's how you get more and more provisions and resources in order for you to come back to your village and then build up your army even more. And then when you withdraw people, you also activate another effect. So it's really cool duality that I really enjoy about Raiders of the North Sea, and why I've also upgraded it to the max. Or without the expansions, but at least the deluxified components, I upgraded a lot of it. I also got an epic play of Andromeda's Edge with Jay from Cardboard East as well, and a friend of ours. We got to play a 3-player game of Andromeda's Edge, and he absolutely destroyed me in this game. So Jay, we need to run it back so I can get that victory back for me. How dare you? You think you can just show up, learn a game as complex as this that quickly, and then all of a sudden destroy me in it, in my favorite game? What's wrong with you? I'm about to bring that game to Gen Con so we can run it back. And the final game for June didn't get too many plays because it was honestly mostly Vantage. But the last game we got to play is Tea Garden. This game, and I'm gonna have to run it back. I only played it one time, so I want to see what happens in the next second and third play before I do a full review on it. But initially, we got a tie, like a 1-to-1 point tie. It was 41 points to 41 points. And that was absolutely insane because both of us, I was playing with my niece actually, she's 8 years old and she learned this game. She's gotten too good in games, y'all. I don't know if I need to train every single day or something, but she's gonna make me look really bad playing games later on. So in Tea Garden, how this game works is you have a hand of 4 cards. And those cards are going to give you a symbol on the top left, which is strength. You're gonna use that, and this is the interesting part about Tea Garden, is that you can play as many cards you want on your turn. But as soon as you run out of cards, then the round is over, and there are 5 rounds in this game, which means the early rounds are going to be very, very quick. So when you spend the strength on those cards onto a player board, then you can take 5 different types of actions, a lot of different actions here. And I don't know what BGG rated it, but it's way lower in complexity than it should be. It's way more complex than what people are rating, which is interesting. So briefly, you can build a tea garden on the map, and as you expand your territory, you'll get more points. You can also buy more cards, which give you more actions. You can sell your resources to a caravan. You can ferment your tea, which means turning it from the green side to the brown side. And fermented tea is really strong in this game. It means you can use it for pretty much anything. And it also will get stronger each round by increasing the value of the tea. And then lastly, you can harvest tea from the tea gardens that you built on the board. And then those are your main actions, which you always have to take once per turn. Afterwards, you have some secondary actions, which allows you to move the boat, like I mentioned earlier. It allows you to go to a university and train your students. And you can do other things like get a cup of tea, which then goes into the secondary scoring system at the very end of the game, where the more rows of cups that you have and that matches colors, then the more points you score as well. Ultimately, this game is kind of a brain burner in that there are so many paths for you to choose. And for me, I think my mistake right now from playing that first time was that I diverged myself in too many paths, because that's typically what you do in a lot of games. It kind of encourages you to either specialize in like 2 to 3 different paths or just spread yourselves out. This game is different because and focus in one path. And what's interesting is that as you go along one path, I kind of looked around the scoring a bit, and it seems like each path has about the same number of points. That's only for one place so far initially, from what it seems like, but that's the feeling that I'm getting, and I don't mind that at all. I think it's really fun. And Tea Garden is one game that I would love to play again. So with that said, thank you all so much for watching today's monthly wrap-up video from June. I think July is going to be a good month for gaming as well, especially since we will be heading into Gen Con at the end of the month. And hopefully, actually, I don't get too many games played at Gen Con, mostly demoed. Either way, it'll be a fun wrap-up video for July as well. And if you made it to the very end, go ahead and comment rage, because we will not rage losing in games. That is not us. And even if the person that we're losing against is 8 years old. All right, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.